Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of Sisters of Legacy. We thank you guys for joining us. Hold tight while we run our intro, and we'll be right back. Hello, ladies. How's it going this week?
Hey.
Yeah, come on. That was so fired up. I thought y'all was going to jump right in there. All
Cool.
right. So we got Shanetta McNair,
Hey.
Katrina Taylor,
Hey,
and Tangela Terrell.
Good evening.
All right, ladies. Listen, we were so fired up, and then as soon as the cameras go on, y'all like, hi. Like, come on, we professionals at this point. We should be able to come in full steam ahead. Or maybe that's just me because I'm always seem like I'm full steam ahead. All right. So our topic for tonight is going to be really broad. I'm sure, like most people, my mind races a lot. And now, every time I see something, I'm like, oh, we should talk about that. Or, oh, I wonder what other people think about this or think about that. So it's always something going on in my head as it relates to content and open conversation. So tonight I figured we'd just do kind of like a mashup and just go through um, a bunch of different topics. So a little birdie sent me a few posts about dating. So I figured, I know I sent it to you guys, um, and I think I was just gonna, yeah, I'm just gonna grab two, like the two that caught my eye. So one said, do you think having rude children can keep you from finding love? So, what do you think, ladies? If sometimes you've been around people that have kids that are, let's just say, interesting. Does it hinder or limit the relationship? And do you think it would do that with the opposite sex? Like, would it hinder a friendship? And then also, do you think it would hinder, um, a romantic relationship?
I don't think so. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Trina.
no, go ahead, go ahead.
Um, no, I don't think that it would hinder any type of friendship or a potential relationship. I guess it depends on how serious a relationship becomes, because if it moves towards marriage, then there may be additional conversations about how we disciplining the children, or if their behavior is really out of hand, then yeah. But my philosophy is, that's your child, and that's how you choose to, the behavior they permit. Who am I to in split my personal opinion? Unless it's someone close to me, then it's like, okay, I know you know better. But
So if you came over here, right? Because you've been to my house, right? And you're like, "Hi, AJ." And he's like, "Hi, Tangela."
mhm.
So, and you look at me, and I'm like, you know, everything's cool. You don't think that would
I
affect
would
a
be
friendship?
I would be taken aback, but I don't think my friendship with you would be predicated on how your children behave or how now I guess it depends on how extreme we're talking. If they're just like out of control, then I may say, okay, well, we just probably won't come over there and we'll probably keep the relationship superficial. But I don't know, it depends on, the extremes that we're referring to.
And see, I'm completely different because I'll probably look at the kid and be like, "Oh, we Facebook friends now. We on a first name basis."
Right. Like, yeah, I just um that whole kid thing, it can it really can be interesting. Trina, what's your take, Trina?
With
Hey,
like
Ephraim.
with like friends, regular friends, I would definitely be like, "Oh, you forgot the Miss, sweetie. You forgot the Miss Tangela," you know. But then I still be like, "Well, why come she didn't jump in and say, you know?"
Right.
But I mean, I don't. I think I could still be friends with someone like that. But in a dating relationship, oh, it's a huge thing. It's a huge red flag as well because if that person is letting their child disrespect me and I'm trying to come in and we trying to form something together, it's gonna be a problem, you know. And of course, I would definitely take the position of, okay, you make sure you discipline. I'm not trying to jump in and discipline your kids, especially depending on the age. Um, but at the same time, I need to see you jumping right in there with the quickness. Oh no, that's not how we talk to Miss Trina or whatever. Like, I need to see that right away because if not, it's a huge red flag to me. What I'm trying to walk into, and I might go, oh no, I don't think we gonna work out.
So, Ephraim said, "Are bad kids a direct reflection of the parent, or do kids have their own minds?" So I'll answer
Um,
since. Oh, okay.
Go
I was
ahead.
about to say.
Go ahead.
I honestly, okay. So I guess it just depends on what you consider bad. I think most kids, a lot of times, will try to test the boundaries.
That's right.
Um, but a bad kid, I'm sorry, I do think it is a direct it is a direct reflection of something that either the parent is or is not doing. Meaning, maybe you a single mom and you working all the time, and so you know you not getting the opportunity to spend a lot of times at home. Because that can affect the child. Or maybe you just a negligent parent. But when you talk about a bad kid, yeah, I think that's a direct result of parenting. And yeah, kids, I guess, do have their own mind. But if you 9, what kind of mind you got? I mean, you only been here for you only been here for 5 minutes. Like, most of what you pick up is either things that are happening in your home environment or things that I'm allowing you to watch on TV. I mean, yes, children do get things from school, but like as the parent, it's your job to be like, oh, where you pick that up from? Oh no, you need to take that back and don't ever, come home with that again. Like, so yes, I think that's my personal opinion. I'm sure, but I do believe it's a direct reflection of a parent, not just, bouts of misbehaving, but a bad kid. Yes,
I
definitely the
agree,
parent.
Sam, and I'll preface by saying parenthood is a lot harder than I thought. I'll be honest. So I was more critical when I did before I had kids to say, oh, they, but now that I'm a parent, I'm realizing how much work it takes to
Right.
mold and point your kids in the right direction because they already have their own mind, and kids are going to be in some cases mischievous or curious, or they're going to try to push the limit. They're human. We do the same thing. But yeah, I do believe that the way a child behaves is influenced by the parent. And yeah, I'll say influenced by the parent.
And another thing, I think you have to know your kid and discern whether they're attention seeking or
Right.
whether they're feeling a way about the person, like they don't know the person, so they
Right.
might feel like, maybe they're testing the boundaries, or I don't know whether this person likes me or not, so let me act, you don't know. So you have to know your kid and be like, sometimes you have to just give them a look and talk about it later, or talk to them right then. um yeah, you have to discern what's going on with your kid, because like you said, they're not perfect. They're kids, they're little humans, they have little feelings, and sometimes they don't know how to express them, so it comes out with misbehavior sometimes.
Right.
I remember when I was living in Illinois and I had Alexis in this little private preschool that I was paying for her to go to every day. And the first year she went, everything was fine. The second year that she went, she had a different teacher. Like the first week of school, I get a call. I'm working, get a call. Alexis has just stormed out of the classroom. Mind you, she's like 4. She done stormed out of the classroom. The teacher tried to get her. She kicking the teacher. She tried to bite the teacher. I mean, like all this stuff. And I'm like, this can't be my daughter. Because Alexis was the sweet one. Like she wasn't, you know, she's the lovey one. I'm like, this can't be right. So okay, come home. I'm trying to ask her. She, at 4, you're not gonna get no real answers. So this went on like a couple of times. And I said, okay, I need to go up to the school. So I made an appointment, get up to the school to, now they want me to talk with the teacher and talk with um the principal or whatever. So we're sitting there talking, and the lady that Alexis, and then Alexis has scratched her one day. I mean, scratched the blood out the lady's hand. Okay, we sitting there, the lady starts talking. And the more she talks, I start cringing, like the way she was talking. And in that instance, before the meeting was all over, like I realized that she was the problem. I mean, not that my daughter was innocent or that her behavior was warranted, but the lady was like really mean. Like she was like, "Oh, this is school, and I don't have time to hug them when they fall or pick them up." I mean, like these are 4-year-olds though. Like
Hmm.
the lady was really mean, and so it put it into perspective. Why that my daughter was behaving like a little maniac. I mean, of course, I still had to talk to her about her behavior and talk to the teacher and go through all of the things that I had to do as a parent, but at the same time, I had to realize like, she's not used to this. She come from an environment where we hug her, we love her. Her teacher last year was really patient and kind with the kids. And, the lady was like, well, they fall, they need to get up. I'm not putting band-aids on. I'm not cleaning. I mean, if their nose is running, they gotta wipe it. I mean, like she was really, really extra. And I felt like she had no place to be in a room with 4-year-olds. So like there are times where kids, they act out based on certain things, but then it's still where the parent comes in. You have to do your job. You have to look into why things are happening and not let them get to the bad point. Would you
Yeah.
let your kid give an opinion on who you date? I say it depends on the age.
I say it depends on the opinion that they're giving too. Because it could be that you just don't want anybody because it's not your dad or the other person that you don't want. So it could be like, why do you have that opinion? Or it could be a very narrow opinion because they're kids.
Or on the opposite side, they could have good insight, as to who you date. I know I saw a movie a similar to that. It was a true story. The woman, I think she was dating this guy, and the daughter, she was already a bratty daughter, but she was like, I don't like him. I don't like how he dressed. I don't like how he doesn't have a car. And then he ended up physically attacking the daughter, and she fought him off and killed him. So I think sometimes, depending on how acute their lens is, I think you should be careful for those who date with kids, especially if you're gonna bring them around your
I mean, and then too, I mean, here's the thing: kids have opinions about everything. Like, so they're gonna have an opinion. Uh, I feel
It
like they're
was a
gonna.
Lifetime movie. Oh no, it was Netflix, but it
I
was
feel
based on
like
a true story.
they are gonna have an opinion. It is good to allow your children to express their opinions to you, but how far you take it, I think you have to be wise about it. But when you have children and you are dating, that has to be. I think that definitely should be taken into consideration how you move when you have kids.
Definitely. I mean, at this point, with my kids 16 and 20, it's a whole group discussion. We got to
Right.
discuss it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I definitely want their opinion. What you think, how he was moving, what you think, what I'm saying? Definitely I need to know what they're feeling, what they're thinking. Because at this age, they'll see stuff and be like, well, I'm definitely listening because they know me.
Right.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying as well.
And they
Yeah.
want to see you protected.
Right.
Right.
They want to see, no, they don't want to see anyone hurt you.
Absolutely. He said, at what point in time in the relationship is it good for your kids to meet your friend?
I would say since I've been dating, I would say pretty early on. Like once you're like, okay, we're dating and it's a constant thing, not like, you know, I would say pretty early on because I need you to know this is a whole package deal. This is how we roll. This is what we do. You know what I'm saying? I don't mean meet them, yes. Meet them early on, not spend time and all that. But meet them, yes, you need to meet them early on so you know. And you know that, this is a package deal. I'm not making moves that, I don't take my kids into consideration about everything. So
I mean, I think it kind of, like, for me, I think it kind of depends. Like, if you're dating for sport, and what I mean is,
right,
like,
right.
sometimes you're just dating because, I just want some companionship. I'm not trying to
Oh,
get in the bed with nobody. I'm not trying to do, whatever. I just want somebody I can hang out with, go to a movie, have dinner. So I think if you're in that mindset, then, you definitely need to space that out. But if
right.
you're
That's
dating,
different. That's
right.
different.
But if you're dating, with purpose, like, trying to do something real and long term, I think, you probably should do it sooner than later. Whole package. All let's go to right.
That's for sure.
Everybody going to the zoo. But I don't see, like, okay, so I have male friends, like, that date girls. And, the consensus is generally it is a turnoff to be around a woman that got bad kids.
Mm.
Like, cause I had one guy say to me like, "Yo, she don't do nothing with her kids. Like, how's she gonna be a good woman to me? She can't even raise her kids before I got here. Because they feel like that's a direct result, of the type of woman that you are. So I think that bad kids would definitely hinder a relationship. When we talk about long term, because this is saying potentially at some point, I may want you to be the mother of my children. And after I see what you've done with this one, uh,
But could it be said, and I would hope that the men will consider, again, raising kids with two of us in the house is hard, but to do it alone, I would hope that men would give women, since we're talking about the male's perspective, give a little grace and consideration to the fact that, is she working? Is she a full-time, is she a full-time employee and trying, and raising a kid? So it can be a lot.
I mean, but like I said, mischievous is one that we talk about a bad kid.
Yeah.
Like, that means you have just got set in this behavior where she say sit down, you sit down, Paula.
Right. Like, how do you respond to it? Like, how
Right?
do you
Like,
respond
Yeah,
to what
yeah.
these kids are
because
doing?
at that point it's like, what he got to come in and body slam your kid? 'Cause
And do she know they bad, or do she think that
it's
oh they
okay, right? Like, see, so because if you think it's cool, then
I think
like I
cool.
said, the AD,
know?
you know what, Ephraim? Yeah, like if she don't see it as a problem, that's the
Right.
worst part.
Then that's
But
the problem.
right. So like, do I really want to be in a relationship and you cool with, with your daughter, like calling me, Tony or whatever my name is, or calling you by your first name? I'm like, Alexis, go sit down. Okay, Sam. Or she comes, Sam, let me what? Like I couldn't imagine. Hey Romello, good evening to you. I couldn't imagine like a man interested in a serious relationship. Um, and I'm just saying for I personally like really wanting to take on that kind of burden, especially if they knew, like like Trina said, meeting these kids and knowing early on that this is what I'm signing up for. Because the first thing coming out the kid's mouth when he say, "Oh, John, you want to have a seat?" No, you ain't my daddy. Like, that's the first thing. Who want to sign up for that? Like, who want to go in all in knowing that? What did it say? Is it fair that single men often want women with no kids? What does that say about him? Is
I
it
think that's just
fair?
a preference.
The
That's
prep,
just
But
a
yeah.
preference.
but does he have kids?
Well, now that's
Mm.
the difference. If
Right. Like
you
you
have
can't.
kids,
Usually that's the case. Usually if he has kids, he don't want anybody that, which is more than ironic.
that's a double standard. Like, stop.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. Again, if I already got three baby mamas, I don't want to date you with a kid either. You know what I'm
Well,
saying?
Yes.
I
That's
mean,
that's
so
true.
it could kind of go both ways. And I don't
Yeah.
know if it's fair or not, but I do think like it's a preference. Like,
Yeah.
even dating a guy, like, okay, if you got one baby mama, fine. But when your baby mamas is in the multiples and all your kids is like 5, 7, 9, no, no. Like, so I think I think it's just preference. He said three. Come on, right? Like it's too much. Like how many? At some point, I have to be. I don't think it's wrong for people to ask for what they want.
right.
Period.
I agree. I
Right.
agree because I rather, it's better to set that expectation up front and then just be done
Yeah.
than to go, through the whole thing and, get your feelings all into it. So I'm not mad at people having preference about kids, no kids.
All right. So this is a good one. And Romello, listen, I've seen some of your comments on the morning show, so I hope that you give me a good response to this one. So this one says, how long after you start talking, oh, this don't even say dating, this say talking to a man, do you feel comfortable enough to ask for money?
Hmm.
Never.
I think talking to is not even enough to like. I
Yeah,
mean,
Never.
y'all are just talking. You shouldn't be asking for money.
I agree. I mean, when did
Ask for money? What? No.
He said,
yeah,
for what though?
Ain't nobody asking you for money. I mean,
I need help with my
mm-mm.
rent.
You ain't my daddy. I'm not asking you for money.
He said immediate withdrawal of application. I mean, okay, so wait, was it on with y'all? No, I think it was, and I know Anthony gonna get me because he can't be tuned in. He busy. So I think it was Brother Legacy. They were talking one morning, and they were asking. They talked about this quote that he saw online, where a woman, a guy was dating a girl, or they went on a date, and on the first date, like the girl was like, I'm not having sex until I'm married. So the guy's response was, well, she wanted to save herself for marriage, she said. So he said he wasn't going to be spending no money on no date because he wanted to save his finances for his wife. So that was his response to her not, wanting to have sex with her, with him or whatever. And so I feel like, if it's okay, guys always talk about that girls asking for money. Don't get me wrong, I still don't ask nobody for nothing, but like I feel like why is it a double standard? Why is it okay for a guy to go into a relationship expecting to climb over in the bed with me, but it's wrong for me to expect him to dig in his pocket.
Hmm.
Is it wrong? What he said? You can share of my lifestyle, no request for cheese. Oh, okay. That's a great point. I like that. I like that, Romello. That's good. So is there a difference? What's the difference between a guy going into a relationship expecting to get in the bed or even going on a date expecting to get some extra after and a woman expecting a man to give her some money?
Sex and money don't equate. It's not even
Right.
not the same thing. Like what? Like no.
Right. And
It's
I
not
mean,
the
When we
same.
start equating sex and money, then you kind of start to dive into um
A business
prostitution.
prostitution.
transaction, right? Like what?
Yes.
A
What?
business
A
transaction.
relationship is a business transaction. You're not.
Yeah.
Um,
You make the choice. It's God given. You didn't work for that. What?
I don't know what that means.
Yeah, you got to elaborate, Romello. I think
I
something
think
got
I
lost
understand what
in,
he's saying.
huh?
I think I understand what he's saying.
Oh, something got lost in translation for me. Okay,
But
what is?
I think when we try to put sex and money on the equal field or try to make a direct correlation, then it's like apples to oranges, because with sex there is intimacy, there are soul ties, there are other ramifications that come with being intimate with someone. If you have a job, you will make that 50, $75, whatever you spend on the date, you will make that back. So there's no soul tied to it. If there's a connection that you have to money, if you look at money the same way you look at sex, then I think that's a concern. I think that's an issue.
Okay.
But again,
Well,
it's your money, it's your preference.
I mean, like when I read the post, though, it just, like I said, it made me think of the quote that they were talking about, and they were, you know, real. And I believe that Ephraim was on the show that morning when they were talking about it was okay.
What he say?
I don't remember, but I
Go back
think
and
he was
forth.
on the show that morning when they were saying it's okay to immediately like ask a woman about her, like about. Ephraim, I love you. I'm just saying it was a conversation, and I know they were fine with the conversation of sex coming up on like a first date. See, look, he
Well,
said even exchange.
It
It's not
depends. It's not even.
well,
Yeah.
I mean, I think sex should come up on the first date if you're setting your boundaries and you're saying, listen, let's just be clear. This is what's gonna happen, what's not gonna happen. So don't expect, and this I think even put in the comments, it's about your expectations.
Right.
So if you put it out there from the beginning, then I think that's is definitely something that has to be talked about up front. And I find that when I'm because I'm
What?
out here in these dating streets, and I find I have to be upfront. You
Yeah.
know, I have to be upfront from the beginning that listen, this is what's not about to happen. So
But
take it or leave it.
I think for even for a man to say that, it makes me question where his values are. And if you look at women as nothing more than a sexual object that you can just kind of, you know, give her some money and think that builds a relationship or any type of communication with a woman, I just kind of wonder what kind of caliber of man that is.
Right.
What are his expectations? I mean, if that's the case, then why even go through the dating process? Why not just go directly to an escort service and just have a clean transaction and get a receipt, and then everybody knows what's going to happen. So I mean,
Exactly.
why even make someone think that this could be a relationship when you're looking for a transaction?
Did you say a clean
Boom.
transaction?
That's
With
right.
a receipt.
That's right, Tangela. That's
Get
exactly
your
right.
receipt.
Wow. Uh-oh, I think Ephraim, did you leave? Don't leave, Ephraim. He said, but it goes both ways. He said, I don't expect anything. I'm living my life. Get on if you like. I'm not pressed. Right. I mean, and I think, listen, I mean, like I said, as far as it go, asking a man how soon should you be comfortable, asking a man for money. I mean, what are you looking for? Are you looking for a
Right.
sponsor?
Right.
I mean, like, I don't. The same way I feel like a man should not go into a relationship looking for sex. I feel like a woman should not enter into something
Looking
looking
for
for
money.
somebody,
I
Right.
agree.
right, to
Looking
to
for a
get in
come up
somebody's
and
pocket.
Yeah.
Right, like
Yeah.
I'm a grown man. I mean grown woman. I already take care of me. Like
I
looking
don't think I
for
accepted money from Ephraim until we were planning our wedding, until we were already engaged. So I'm similar to you, because one, I don't want anybody to hold nothing over my head to say, I gave you this, so now you got to give me that.
yeah. Listen,
Yeah.
you get something. These walking papers, you get to getting. What is that? It's disrespectful. You are showing blah privilege.
Oh, disrespectful to expect money or ask for money. Is that what you're saying, Romello?
Yeah. Uh, um. Yeah, I think I think somewhere things have definitely gotten twisted. Like, and I mean this in the broadest sense. Like, I feel like you get into a relationship with somebody. I care about you. You care about me. Eventually, money and sex is gonna come. You know what I mean? Like, I don't mean you're gonna like, eventually if we care about each other, eventually, we'll get married, sex will come, or whatever happened, and the relationship will progress. He said, "My what? You know what? Uh-oh, mother has spoken. She said, no sex, no money. Get to know the person. All right, mother.
mother
Look,
has entered the building.
and spoken. Right.
Yes.
Said, to expect money, it's a privilege that women. Right.
Yeah.
That's what
I
I'm
agree
saying.
with
You
that. I think
I agree.
that's inappropriate,
right.
because to me that's trying to take advantage
Oh,
of a person to only use them for their money. I don't like that. I saw a post once where this woman knowingly, knew this guy was into her, and she just wanted to eat, and she was like, "Watch, I'm gonna get him to take me," to knowing that she didn't like him, and used him to go take her out to eat. I'm like, what is that? Like, why, why play with someone's emotions like that? And it's both ways. It's
right.
both ways. I think it's inappropriate on both sides.
Yeah.
So that's what. So I mean, I think everybody go in with these real short term, expectations. Okay, fine. I gave you money. Now what?
Yeah.
Like you asked a dude for money. He give you the money. Now what? Now what? You just move on to the next guy. Now do you progress into a relationship? I mean, like, what's the long term purpose? What if he spends money on the kids though? PS5. What does that have to do with anything? Like honestly, I wouldn't let my kids probably take anything from
I
somebody.
wouldn't
Like
either. I don't
not
think
my
I would
kids. Like you can't, because you're
either.
not about to play with my kids. Like
Right.
we're
And then
gonna.
what if you're the type that you get mad and want to take your stuff back? That's not.
I wouldn't know what it's like to use men for their money. I like what?
Like,
Mm.
Oh yeah, you might want to reevaluate your picking, sweetie. By the way, if it was a stock, it would be plummeting. Supply supply is
Oh,
high.
Uh,
You right. At this point, they throwing it around, Romello. I agree with you. They throwing it everywhere these days. She
throwing it
said,
in the
you
sofa.
ladies answer my Valentine's weekend plans. Oh, he said, "What? You ain't getting my PS5 back?" Yeah, like I think, I think we all have to use better judgment on
Yeah.
some of these things. Like even, trying to get over on a guy, like it may work. You might find a guy that every time you call him, he give you some money, or he getting your nails done, or he getting your hair done, or whatever it is you think you're using him for. The reality is, what you sow, you go reap. So somewhere down the line,
Right.
that's gonna come back on you. Somewhere down the line, you're gonna pay for this very temporary thing that you're
Mhm.
doing. And I think sometimes people need to think, is it really worth it? Is it really worth it to get $50 out of somebody, every couple of weeks so you can get your nails done? Down the line, is it really worth it? Because, those things have a way of working themselves right back around. But it's okay to spend money on you for Valentine's Day. How is that the same thing, sir?
I think if we're dating or if you're trying to buy me a gift for Valentine's Day, of course. But it shouldn't be an expectation if we're not dating.
But if we're married,
Definitely.
Ephraim, we'll talk. We'll talk later. We'll talk
Thanks,
offline.
Mello. Thanks for joining us.
We
Oh,
just met and we're dating. I would
Right.
say Valentine's Day is not necessarily a requirement, but if we've been
I
dating
agree.
for a while and we're like in a serious relationship,
I
um,
mean, but
it's a
here's the thing.
holiday.
Like,
Let's do it.
let's say I meet you in January, right? We done been on a few days. Valentine's Day come around. If you just act like it's not Valentine's Day, for me, that would be like a red flag. Now,
Mm,
nobody's saying go and spend hundreds of dollars, but
Right.
they sell dollar roses. You know what I'm saying? A card from the dollar store.
yeah.
I think I would be looking for something just
Some
as an
acknowledgement.
acknowledgement. Thank you. As an acknowledgement that, at least at this present time, it could even say, you could write whatever you want in a
Yeah,
card.
to my
You know,
friend, or
right. We still
even
getting
if
to
you
know each
haven't
other.
classified the relationship, just
Right.
at least acknowledge that we've been spending time together.
Right.
Yeah.
And acknowledge, because then I need to know, this is kind of one of those seasons where I'm watching your behavior. Because if you already ignore Valentine's Day, that means down the line, it's always going to be a struggle.
hmm
Or at least, that's how I see it in my mind. It's always going to be a struggle. He said, what if I'm a natural giver and a spending father was my example and money is my love language? I mean, what your love language is fine, but at the same time, your love language doesn't give you an all access pass. I
Right.
mean, if that's your choice, that's different than me trying to get that out of you. You know what
And
I'm
And
saying?
your
and
love
giving,
language, your love language is usually how you like to receive, not more so like a lot of times we do give the way we like to receive, but the person that you're giving to, their love language may be something
He
completely
said,
different.
oh, he said, so you will refuse my gifts on suspicion. Gifts for my children, yeah. Like if you came over for some PS5 for my kids, nah, that's a bit much. Like,
What
it's a
do you
relationship. I want it to naturally progress. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I want things to be, yeah. I mean, if you a
well,
baller, like, what you do for a living? Like, you know what I'm saying? I guess it depends on who you are. You know what I'm saying? Like, I guess if you dating a rapper and he come over with a PS5, is it a big deal? You
It
know,
all depends on where you are in the relationship. Like, how long have you been dating? Are you guys like serious? Are you exclusive? Are you on your way heading down the aisle? Like, are you, you
Mhm.
think he's about to, propose? Like, if you're there and they're that serious, then of course he's gonna bring gifts for your kids because he knows your kids. You know what I'm saying? He's
right.
already familiar with your family and everything. So,
Natural
it
progression.
really depends where you are in the
Yeah.
relationship. But
but
if you
what I
coming in and not just you just met my kids and you bringing gifts, I'm gonna be like,
that's a little creepy.
that's yeah. So it depends where you are.
But I also think, talking about love language, people are natural givers, but I would encourage to distinguish between spending and giving, because you can give in other ways.
Right.
And if it's your natural inclination to want to spend, then even for a guy, I would recommend to hold off on spending money and try to find other ways to give, just to make
Right.
sure that you don't put yourself in a position where you're kind of coming across as an ATM. You don't want to set that precedent either. So if that's what you like to do, I would at least try other ways outside of spending money.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you on that. You gotta be you have to use wisdom and make good decisions. Like I said, you want relationships to naturally progress. You're not meeting today and marrying tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? Like everything can't be microwave fast. Like half the time when you microwave stuff, if you ain't careful, you dry it out. It's too tough. Putting me.
Yeah.
It's the same way with a relationship. If you go into it trying to microwave your way through it, you go wind up, in a bad space. And I think too many times that has happened because people are jumping. They're trying to skip steps. It's not hopscotch. You can't jump over stuff. You gotta, it should be a natural progression to things. Uh-oh. Yeah, that's well, at least that's how I feel about it. I think it should definitely be natural. So we're totally against all the asking money.
Yeah, no asking for money.
No.
Oh, okay. So I thought this one was interesting. Does God call some people to remain single for the rest of their lives?
I think there are people that are okay in their singleness, and they're not necessarily interested in being married. I don't know if it's like a call from God to be like forever single, but I do think it's people that are comfortable in being single and they're okay with that. They're not looking, to be married, and that's okay for them.
Okay. Let's see what she said. People enter into all kinds of relationship agreements. Some are based on good intentions and some are not. Some are based on survival or habits. Some men spend high just because they can. Some women require money or gifts. And again, I think we said before, like there's nothing wrong with having expectations or even asking for what you want. At the same time, like you said, it just needs to be an agreement. Like
Mm.
both of us need to understand I'm here for money. Like, he needs to know like I don't really like you like that. I just use you when I want my nails done. You know what I'm saying? Then that's, I guess in some ways it's acceptable. But if he think he dating you and you using him as an ATM,
Right.
then that's all the way backwards.
And I think that's where it starts to get dangerous,
Right.
because now we're deceiving and using deception to get what you want. And I think that's when it starts to get sticky.
He said Jesus and Paul, were single and powerfully used by God, but I'm with you. So I guess he's asking you, Elder McNair. I'm not sure if it's a call.
I think he
Yeah.
was saying he's with me. He's not sure if it's a call. Yeah.
Oh, but okay. Yes, deception. Right. Honesty is well, I'm sure everybody's heard that. Honesty is the best policy. Yeah, I don't. Well,
But you'll be surprised what people will agree to if you
but
just give them the option up front.
oh
You
well,
know,
that is
you
true.
some people will be okay being the side chick. They'll be okay being a part of the harem. They're
But
fine with it.
I
I'm not
don't.
saying I agree with it, but
But that's not really the case, though. That's the thing. Like they don't really be okay with it because
Well,
they
they
never stay.
settle.
No,
Right.
no, but they never stay the
Hey,
side. Even the side chicks. Yeah, they go into it, they knowing that this person has a main situation and he's only gonna see me, I'm the Friday night girl or whatever. And then What always happens? They always want more. I want you to see me Tuesdays and Fridays. Because people agree to it, I think sometimes under false pretenses, because they think they're going to change your mind. Like, they go
Yeah.
into it with a lack of honesty. Like, you're not being honest with me, and you're
Or
not being
yourself.
honest with yourself. Right. Like,
But
so,
they're going to it with getting a temporary need met. And in their mind, because you told me the truth, then it's all good. But like you said, somewhere along the line, either
right.
a person comes into a proper sense of who they are, or if they come into a relationship with God and understand that this isn't who I was designed to be, then depending on what they're getting out of the deal.
Right. Ephraim said they always want more. Somebody will catch feelings. And see, I don't, the whole catch feelings, I almost feel like that way. You know how they say you caught the Holy Ghost? Like you can't catch it because ain't nobody throwing it at you. The same way you can't catch feelings. People, you go into it and you're already looking for something. Let's be honest. 9 times out of 10, if you're dating, you're looking for somebody to be with. And
Now
then
I've heard somebody say that being kind of in a relationship with a person that's already married or involved with somebody, that's better and easier because they're not going to be all clingy to you, and like that like they have to go home, so they're not going to be bothered. So they like were okay with being the side chick
right.
because he's not too clingy. He's not gonna be trying to stay at my house. He's gonna, we gonna do what we doing, and then he gonna be gone somewhere, and I don't have to be all up under him. I don't have to pretend because I'm just the side chick.
Right. And that same person, she probably told everybody who she was the side chick to. See, you see, I'm just saying, you see how both of those things can exist. Like,
Mhm.
if
I
you're
agree.
good just being on the side, you would never say anything to anybody. Because this is my secret. This is what I want. This is just for me and him. Nobody would ever have, like, I feel like if side chicks was really a thing and they were really cool with it, we wouldn't know they exist. But we always know because they always want everybody to know.
Right. They always
Hey, here I am. They. So yeah, I feel like people just, like I said, go into things under false pretenses, and
Mhm.
then or thinking, I'm gonna change his mind. Oh, I'm gonna make him forget about her. You know,
Mm.
he said the secrets are happening. Oh, I'm sure there are some. There's always a good secret somewhere hiding in the closet. there's there's always one. But I'm just saying, like the majority, people talk about, oh yeah, like side chicks is the new rave or whatever. Let's be honest. Back in the day, men had two whole households.
Families, yeah.
Right. You going to school. Like I knew somebody. He went to school with half brothers and sisters, and didn't even find out until they were grown that his father had fathered these other kids, and they all in the same high school. Like I know them and been talking to them, and don't know that this is my half sister.
That's crazy.
So I mean, like that's something that has been around, unfortunately, for a long time. It's become more popular now because, like I said, they don't stay quiet no more. That other woman, she stayed across town. She might have even saw your mother in the grocery store. She never said nothing. She kept, she kept the baby. She would see, might even wave to your mother. Never mentioned a word
Not a
the
soul.
whole time.
Weird.
What did I say? Catching feelings is defined as an emotional change of opinion based on exposure to.
Silly.
Wow, the crazy part is that you went so far to define that. Thank you for clearing that up for me, sir. I totally appreciate that.
I'll pray for them.
Okay, so yeah, we picked at a few dating things. So I'm in some, I don't know if any, I think Tangela might be in one. I think I might have seen you comment a time or two. One of those marriage groups on Facebook. Do you ever just be reading some of the comments and some of the things, that these people say? Like there was a woman and she was, like, and they're famous for screenshotting their husband's text and putting them in the group. I would
Really?
never
Wow.
screenshot a text conversation
Yeah.
between me and my husband and put it in a group. Like sometimes I wonder, do people ever think that they go too far? Like I feel like that's too far. How, you doing it to try to prove that you can't trust your husband, but can he trust you?
Mm.
Like, cuz I feel like that's too far. So do you think people ever really like, as a wife, and I say a lot of times, some stuff I'm real old fashioned with, like as if according to the new things. Like, so do people, like I said, I would never a conversation he and I had, especially like something we're disagreeing about. Like it's one thing if it's a joke, but these are like
Right.
intimate conversations these people are having. You know, sometimes the husband might call him a name or whatever, goes on, and they screenshot this and they put it in these groups and they're asking other people, what do you think I should do about this? And what do you think my husband meant? And whatever. And I wonder, do you, like, do we ever think we've gone too far? Like, do you think that's going too far? Like, isn't that like a clear violation of trust?
It is. But I also recognize that the social media mentality doesn't help.
Mhm.
That's not to say that, they wouldn't go gossip to their, family or friends about what's going on, but social media gives instant response, instant, trying to get people on their side. So I don't know if it's the attention, but I think it's a dangerous game to play because now you're exposing your marriage on a huge platform. So you got to be. I think we have to take our marriage more seriously than that to subject your marriage to the thoughts, opinions, and views of people who have nothing to do with your marriage. I think that's a very foolish move. And if you need that much help, you need to go. You need counseling. You don't need to go to Facebook.
Yeah, I
Wow.
would definitely agree. I think that we are, because of being in like this more social posting type thing that we're kind of in right now, where everything is posted, everything is everybody's business, everything is put out there for everybody else, that there are a group of people who don't know how to not post.
Right.
And we're kind of like the ones that like kind of live without cell phones, the ones that kind of lived where the phone was attached to the wall with a cord, and we, like literally had to like stay stationary to have a conversation. We kind of had that sense of privacy, and we kind of know things that I think some of the younger generation don't necessarily really have um the discretion. They don't really have good discretion. That was a word that I had discussed with my daughter a while ago. I was like, you have to have more discretion about life in general. Everything is not for everybody.
Right.
Everything is not to be put out into the world. You have to operate with a sense of discretion. Um, just don't share everything. It's not
Amen.
everybody's business.
She said,
Right.
"Amen."
And then my only thing is, what is the benefit to a bunch of strange people that I don't know telling me that my husband shouldn't have told me that my eye is crooked? I mean, like, do you really need other people to tell you that your husband shouldn't call you stupid?
I think it's the attention. And I've had this conversation with other people. It's kind of like, why would you post pictures like this? Why would you want anybody to see you in this light? And the only thing I can deduce is attention. It's bad for your husband to call you stupid, but when you post it, now you get people to kind
No,
of
you stupid.
come to you, that too. But now you give them an invitation to your pity party, and now they say, "Oh no, you beautiful, you're smart. You don't have to take that and this that." I think it's a way to kind of bolster whatever they're missing in real life. So, I go to these strangers and hopefully get what I'm not getting at home.
Mm, yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, a PP of what y'all just said. What is the age group or generation of the group? Honestly, this marriage group, I've seen everybody from in their
All
20s
ages. Yeah.
to up into been married for like 40 years. So it's a wide group. I am not the same woman I was
Yeah.
uh, 2 decades ago. I probably would have put some stuff out there when I was hurting in my marriage at 30. Now hindsight, oh sorry, makes me wiser not to expose my personal business.
And
That's
that's
Anyway,
and
true.
that I mean, and that comes with maturing,
right.
Kawana, and I applaud that because you were able to do it offline. And I think this generation coming up now knows nothing but social media,
Mhm.
and they don't know how not to share. And I think wisdom teaches you got to keep some stuff to yourself. Some things you can't, even for safety reasons, you can't share everything with everybody because, now when you come on the other side of it, you looking crazy because you done told all of your Facebook friends that he won nothing and, y'all gonna get a divorce and now y'all, taking pictures and
Right.
matching pajamas. It's like, hey, wait a minute, y'all,
Not the matching pajamas.
yeah.
Yeah, like I just some of the things I see in there. I just wanted since she brought up this comment, I thought about Will and Jada's live talk a lot, and I thought it was too much. They should not have done it, ladies.
I saw it and I thought the same thing. Um, to give an explanation, and I understand why they did it, and they had a lot, buzzing, and they wanted to change the narrative. You don't owe anybody. I don't know. I just think a marriage is sacred. It's between a husband and wife and the God they serve.
Right.
Um, and to expose the issues in your marriage, and like I said, leave that open for criticism. I just don't know if that's the healthiest move because what I saw was people who supposedly moved on, but now you got to relive it. What if that was a traumatic time in their marriage? And if it happened years ago, now they got to talk about it. And now they got to relive it. And now, have to endure people's. I don't think I would have done it.
I will say I
I wouldn't have
think
done it either.
as a society, a lot of times we are unfair to these actors and actresses and entertainers. I mean, what these people do is a job.
Yeah.
Like it's a job. They get paid to do a job, and I get it. That's your favorite. I get it. You done bought all his movies, but you made a choice to buy my movies. That does not mean I owe you an explanation of what I do
In my
when
person.
I'm not on the screen.
Right.
And
Yeah.
and people act like entertainers and actors don't have the right to make that decision. And I think it's unfair of society to put those kind of demands on anybody. Like it's a job. Those people should be able to do their job and go home and live their life. But of course it's up to them to set better boundaries and live their life. And say no, this is just ours. Like, y'all have access to our arts. You have access to what we want to share, but this part is just ours. And I feel like
Right.
even in everyday, even with your marriage, you sometimes have to say that to people, even if it's not with words. You have to say, "This is ours." You don't get this.
Right.
You don't get a say in
In
this
this.
part, right? Just like when they come to people, um, raising their kids, they quick to tell you, "Don't tell me how to raise my kids," because it's like those are mine. You don't get a say in these. I think we have to take our relationships, more serious too. I get it. People get hurt, you hurt, and sometimes you don't know what to do with that hurt. But I don't think you should open yourself up to more hurt because social media is cruel.
Hmm.
One minute they will they'll click and click and click, and then the next minute they will be the same ones posted and and tearing you to pieces.
Because
So
most of the time they just want the tea. They don't
right,
care about your marriage, and y'all get a healing. They just want to
right,
know what happened.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when it comes to posting in social media, it's like it's the mentality that if I didn't post it, it didn't happen. You know what I mean? Like everybody wants to post everything. Like nothing's going. If you didn't post it, that means nothing's going on in your life. You don't
Right.
take any vacations if you didn't post it. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So so when you're dealing with your relationships, just because you didn't post it doesn't mean that the healing isn't taking place, that you're not dealing with your stuff. So they didn't have to come on and this is like, we're dealing with it. There was no need to post it. And
Right.
all of that, just we're dealing with it. Just because we didn't post it doesn't mean it didn't take place. But I think that's the problem in this day and age. It's just like this whole thing, like if I don't post something, then my life must be boring. Well, people must think I don't have a life at all. I don't be posting nothing. You don't need to know what's going on or not going on. You know what I'm saying? So just go ahead and assume I don't got nothing going on. I'm good with that.
right. I think, with just like with everything else, you have to find like a balance with this whole, social media thing. Like you really have to find a balance. And I can say like even with us, because we have the Monday night show and because we do the relationship stuff, like for me sometimes it's a struggle because he always like we just I just want to go out to eat and now I got to take a picture with my food so you can post that we went out to this place and now and I'd be like, is this too much? Why we can't just and I get it, and I'd be like, okay, not today though. Like today's just gonna be us. Next time we'll do it and we'll post it. And so I think sometimes you just have to this thing is invading right, invade your own right, private. Sometimes you just have to set, you have to have boundaries. You have to have balance. Um, but yeah, anytime there's a lack of balance, whether it's social media, whether it's you verbally sharing too much, or anytime there's an excess in one area and a deficiency in another, I feel like that's always going to be an issue. Whether it's the way you eat, the way you dress, if you got on too much up here and not enough down there, if you eat in too much meat and not enough vegetables, anytime it's off balance, that's exactly what the outcome is going to be, off balance. Because you can only get out what you put in. So what you put into things matter. The amount of time you give things matter. The amount of attention that you put into things matter. So, we have to be mindful of things. And life is a marathon. This you don't never know how long this could go on. You can't keep, trying to sprint your way through it. It's just zoom to the next thing, zoom to the next thing. We got to take time. We have to slow down and really live our lives for us.
Mm-hmm.
It's an individual journey, and yes, I might be sharing my journey, with other people, but it's definitely an individual journey. So I don't know. We just have to make better choices, for ourselves personally, all of us. I'm sure there's some area where you're like, you know what, I probably could do a little better over there. That area that I done stuck in the corner. We all have them. Everybody has something where you could do a little better, make a better decision. And it's never too late to start. Once you open your eyes, it is a new day, it is a new opportunity. You could always make a decision. We know that Valentine's Day is this weekend. So all you Valentine's Day haters, I know people, people hate the holiday for all these other, all these reasons. Listen, if you ain't in a relationship, love on yourself. Get you a box of chocolates, and if you drink wine, a nice bottle of wine, or a nice bottle of some cold sparkling cider, and you celebrate yourself. How about that? Love yourself if you don't have nobody to love this year, because next year it could all be different. And for those of y'all that have somebody this year, you already decided I'm not buying nothing. just think, next year you could have nobody. So let's take all those things into consideration. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your week, and it has been great. We thank you for your comments. We thank you for your time, and we will return next Tuesday at 8:30. Ladies, any last thoughts? No?
Yeah.
All right. Guys, have a great night.